Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the American Investor Show. Please click subscribe if this is your first time listening. From trader and CEO interviews to breaking news about companies you won't hear anywhere else, nobody does a better job at keeping you in the know when it comes to penny stocks. The term penny stock generally refers to a security issued by a very small company that trades at less than $5 per share. Penny stocks are extremely risky, yet they offer rates of return on investment not seen anywhere else. The host, guest, and callers are not registered financial advisors licensed by any government entity, and therefore, the following should be considered entertainment. The host, guest, and callers disclaim all liability in the event any information, commentary, analysis, opinions, advice, and/or recommendations prove to be inaccurate, incomplete, or unreliable, or result in any investment losses. Before investing in penny stocks, you should consult a professional to determine what strategy may be best for your individual needs. Now, without further ado, your host, LaSalle Anungu.
Yes, what's going on, everyone? Appreciate you. Took a couple days break. We're back. Had Thursday off. Of course, you know I don't do a show Friday. Of course, you guys, everybody enjoyed the weekend. We're back now, following the money across the markets, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you. Welcome back to the show. I think this is actually episode 305 or 6. I'm not sure. I'm going to check that after the show. But again, appreciate you for joining me here, too. It's so hard starting this show because my boy Derrick Rose is on fire right now, man. Derrick Rose playing like it's 2010 out there. Shout out to D. Rose and the Timberwolves. D. Rose back in action, lighting it up. What's going on, Stockefeller, Gerardo, Joe F., Candace Thomas, Donzel Essex, what's up, man? Ken, what's going on? Norman Powell, Sal Baptiste, Jason Hufen. Jason, what's going on, man? You been playing those cryptos? Yeah, Bitcoin is back, man. Bitcoin holding pretty well. You know what? Let me not say it's back. It's holding well. What's going on, Chris? Chris in the building, Ja Warrior, Callie Rob, Dr. Butterfly, Life for Business. Shout out to all of you guys watching now and in the future. Bats, what's going on, man? Corey Kwan, Gerardo, and others. George, what's up, man? So, not too much volatility today, right? I mean, today was pretty much a very sideways day across the markets, right? Very sideways day across the markets. For the black box stocks traders out there, you know, we played that bottom to the top and move in GSUM. Beautiful trade coming out of that you know, low RSI level. I think we got to as low as like 9 on the RSI, and it was pretty much on everybody's radar if you were trading intraday. So when the alert went across on black box, it was just you know, it was an easy one. It was just, okay, let's go in and see what happens here, and it just kept going up. It just kept going up, kept going up, kept going up, and you just rode that all day. There were no other trades besides, of course, you know, my shorts that I carry over the course of several months, and then, you know, my options that I still have open. But other than that, guys, you know, again, not much for the day. We saw how Donald Trump affected crude prices last week, as crude dumped on his tweet and then ended up coming right back. Yes, very nice reversal on GSUM. Very nice reversal on that stock. Very nice. All right. Shout out to Ken. Ken, for those of you guys who saw Tim Sykes' tweet on FUSZ today, I wanted to say that probably had some effect on the stock today. The fact that, you know, now people see that Tim Sykes is looking at it, and the fact that he's got his base of supporters, right? His you know, 3,500 plus subscribers who are paying this man almost $200 a month for his advice. And, you know, look, they know that he's looking at FUSZ. We'll see what happens tomorrow or the next couple of days on the Cisco news that we've been talking about here on the show for the last several days. But it's going to be really interesting to see whether or not some shares suddenly become available in FUSZ. As guys start to, you know, run to the exits on the news. It's going to be very interesting to see. Yeah, those ETFs have been on a nice little tear The inverse ETFs have been on a nice little tear for the last, several days, pretty much since Wednesday or so. But I think things start to turn around tomorrow. We already saw that a little bit after hours, where we start to see some of the green come back. I want to say that the semiconductors, in particular, in my opinion, are oversold right now. If you look at some of those bear ETFs, SOXS, they've really outperformed, right, since Wednesday. I mean, you've had incredible performance in this. And by the way, this is on my website, Advanced Equity Research. I gave you the best tech ETFs. This is one of them on that list. Incredible numbers across the last several days. You've gone from the mid 11s to 13.79, so almost $2.50 per share since Wednesday in some of the semiconductors. But I think you're oversold here. SOXL should see a nice move bouncing back, which is the bull side of the trade. You should see XOXL bounce very nicely off these low RSI levels. So looking for a nice ETF move tomorrow, or at least a nice little weekly hold. This could be a nice little hold for you for a week from these low 120 levels. All right. Very nicely oversold there, 37 on the RSI. That's a really nice in for you. Very nice in for you. All right. You can also go on the stock side too. For example, MU. This is a stock that I really like. MU, and I'm kind of surprised to see it struggling here, but this is actually probably where you want to go in for, a bounce here. This is probably where you want to go in for a nice little bounce here on these, again, low RSI, MU. These semiconductors have really taken a beating over the last couple of days. It's going to be interesting to see how they move forward. All right. You might even do something like a vertical here, some of those higher prices. 919 Bats, what's going on, man?
Hey Sal, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not doing okay, I guess. Just something laughable happened today. So a while, like last year, I got into GE when it was still in the 20s, and so today my wife tried to sell GE, and we were denied. Either something's going on with Chase, or it's laughable. I mean, it's not like we bought millions of dollars worth of GE, so we can't even sell GE.
Wow.
Which I thought was laughable. Yeah, she normally has to either call them or go through her portal and say, listen, we want to share, sell this. The instant she typed GE is like denied, so we have to hold it for who knows how long. I just thought that was laughable, but that's a separate story. So I have one question on an OTC. I think it's one of Ken's picks, which is CELZ. What is actually driving that? I noticed it.
I see Ken in the building right now. He's going to have to explain that one.
Right.
CEL. I think it's not V. It's something else. What's the ticker on
CELZ, as in Zimbabwe. CELZ.
Oh, okay. Z. There we go. That's right. All right. Z.
Yeah.
I'd love him. I'd love him to talk about it, but he brought it up last week, and it's holding real nicely. But again, that's another one where I can't get a story on. I'm only getting a lot of chat room chatter, but what's the meat and potatoes? I can't identify.
Okay, so that's done. All right, let's get to the interesting things. This is an insider play. RDUS. Just noticed this towards the end of the day. It's a $33 stock, but on options it would be like a $3 something stock. But just notice there was insider buying, 1.3 million in this one. It formed a nice hammer signal, lower RSI, following from yesterday and the day before with long candle wicks, lower wicks. So I thought this one might actually be a good one to get into on something like a July 20th $35 call. If it hits $35 by July 20th, you could be looking at anywhere between an 80 to 150% gain.
Jeez.
So so that one's pretty good. Just, keep a lookout on that one.
And Beth, what again are you saying is the catalyst on this?
I don't know what the catalyst is. Well, I'm using insider buying.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah, I think a 10% owner bought like $1.3 million worth of stock in this.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can get that on FinViz. If you go to FinViz and, go on the insider tab that's there, as insiders buy these stocks, you get updates on what's being purchased and what's being sold.
Mm-hmm.
And so this caught my eye because it looked good technically. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Okay, so that's RDUS. Next on HMNY, you saw that offering last week.
Yeah.
Which crushed the
Absolutely
stock.
Destroyed it.
But once again, for me, I actually thrive off of offerings, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But this one as an options play, I know who was it. Remember with the options competition, can't remember who went into that with a $10 strike price.
Yeah, it was Christian Jewell. Yeah, Christopher Jewell.
Yeah.
Christopher Jewell, and he called for a $10 call in HMNY. Put some meat and potatoes on it too, by the way. I think gave only a month. I think something further out would do it for some justice, but interesting play at these levels.
So alternatively, my thing, because it looks like when he picked it, I picked it as well as a second option, pun intended. But HMNY, if you go in for something like, because I believe it's in the 240s right now, go for the 250 call with the 17th of August expiration. Right now, if it hits $4, give it until August to hit $4. Once again, you're looking at 130 to 170% gain on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, IONS. I wasn't expecting that news last week, but obviously
ladies and gentlemen, if you saw that option show, Bats, I got to give it to you, bro. You destroyed it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he called IONS, and we thought that, again, this was going to be something that was going to take some time, and Bats just annihilated. Let's play it again. IONS. I mean, absolutely insane, Bats. What a trade from those lower levels from where we started out at.
Yeah, these guys have two drugs that they're looking to get FDA approval on this year, and I think for one of the drugs, the advisory board is meeting in May, so I'm like, okay, perfect. Let me pick, Ionis as one of my, because that's, people who've seen my tweets, it's like my favorite stock in the world because they've got, 20, 30 drugs in their pipeline. So I didn't know that, that Biogen IDEC, gave them an extra $1 billion to look at neurological diseases. And of course that, for ISIS or Ionis to go up 5%, that's a big deal. I already have like 7,500 just in the long play. I wish I could do options, but once again, if I pick a stock for options, it has to be a leap. I think I could actually play that bet as a leap, but anyway, I got $7,500 in that at $46 a share. I'm already up 10%. And then the price target was raised from 70 to 75.
Whoa, wow.
This stock should be an $100 a share stock.
Well, Bats, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, do you go ahead and as you say, put this into a longer-term situation at these levels? I mean, would you want to, put a few more, a few more months on a $50, call on something like this?
Yeah, I could take that bet. I mean, as a leap, have it expire in 12 months from now. And, yeah, I could take that bet. It's just, for me, it's so difficult being a day trader and short-term trader. Right. But it's a bet I would take. Maybe like with $5,000, I could do that for sure. Because this thing, the only way it can go is up right now. There are already rumors that Biogen wants to buy Ionis. The CEO was interviewed, I think, on Friday, and he says, yeah, they've discussed a buyout, but he says right now, nothing's been, finalized, but they have talked about it.
Absolutely.
So this is huge. Okay, and then last but not least is my SPY. As you all know, I've been day trading the SPY for the last 2 weeks. Today was another good day. Growing my mom's small account. Went in, with like about $800 in about 32 minutes, made about 9-10%. So that was a fairly good trade that I made there. I did miss the early run on the 5-minute chart there because you see it established early support within the first 40 minutes on the 5-minute chart with the longer candle wicks, and then after an hour or close to an hour, it established the top, and I totally missed that because I was actually working for a change today, even though I'm at home this week. but I missed those two because if it's already telling you like where support and resistance is early on, you shouldn't ignore those signs. So I totally missed that. Eventually caught it just before the last hour where it dipped down to what was that? That price just at the. Sorry, I'm just trying to check what that price was, but I didn't even catch the meat of the move and still managed to do pretty well on this. So. I think it was at, that candle that's at, let me see, at 255? Yeah.
Okay. 255.
So that
okay.
you see where you get the long bearish candle, wide range candle, and then you got the bullish harami there, and then it totally reversed over the last hour. So I got in right at the bottom there, and basically just made like, I don't know, I think I went in at about 265 and then came out at 266.30. But just in that small move was able to make a quick 9% in 32 minutes. So that was pretty cool. And I'm just, once again, I'm keeping my eye on the SPY and looking for the best setups, but I've had really, really good success on the SPY. I feel like right now I feel I know the SPY really, really well, even only trading it after 2 weeks. You learn to look for the signs, the signs and the symptoms. So, that's all I have for you guys. I often put on my charts where I analyze the SPY on the 1 minute and the 5 minute, but really enjoying trading this. The more I trade it, the more I'm comfortable with it, the more I'm going to put more money into it in terms of position size per trade. So I'm looking really, really good on the SPY, and just using 4 indicators. I'm using my normal 8 EMA, I'm using my 20 SMA, I'm using VWAP, and then of course the Ichimoku cloud, which gives me an added advantage there. And that's all I have for you, Sal. Thanks. Keep
Appreciate
up the good
you,
work,
Bats.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
indeed. Shout out to Bat Scientist. Really limited with his options, but as you can see, doing the most, with what he has available. And, that's something we can all learn from. So shout out to Bats, and thank you again for the call. We haven't, gotten away from, these recent lows, guys. We're not too far, from these recent lows, and it just goes to show that this market is still fighting, from going, into a real bear market. We haven't seen that kind of explosive return back to the highs that we thought we were going to see after bouncing off that 200 at the beginning of the month. Mr. Lloyd, you're back on. What's up, man?
Back on? Who's me back on? Who's somebody else call?
No, because
my name?
hey, it's been a minute since you called, so you're back on. What's up?
Oh, I'm back. What's up, Shy? How you doing, brother?
Good, good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. I've been well, you know, I got my little hearing coming up next week. 4 years waiting, man, but everything is going good there. But I've been studying. Basically, I've been reprogramming my mind for the psychology, man. As far as basically prepare my when you see these, you know, so I don't have to see every candlestick as a threat. And because I mean, initially I was seeing every candlestick as a threat. I mean, you'll get in the trade and you'll see a red candlestick, and then shit, I got scared. I mean, like, damn, like, you know, I mean, I don't want to feel that way anymore. I want to be able to feel confident about my trades, and so basically I've been doing a lot of meditating and stuff like that because, you know, psychology plays a large part into this, and I think, you know, that was a missing element that we never really talked about when we first started the show is market psychology. I mean, hell, we were just trying to make some money, but you know, and the thing that I'm learning is not to focus on the values of when you place a trade. It's not to focus on the value that you're making, but basically you need to treat it as if you are playing a video game. You know what I'm saying? Because once you start looking at money, then your whole mindset changes, and so that's what I'm working on. I did play 2 options today. I bought some calls into Qs. Okay. I bought right at the money.
I think that's the right thing to do right now, at least in the short term.
Yeah, and basically I picked that. I picked the. I ended up picking that because I looked at the hour chart. You're looking at the daily, and it looks pretty sloppy, like it's going to be a continuation. But let's bump it to an hour. So I'm trying to confine my time frames down to 2 time frames, because once you start looking at multiple time frames, they tell different stories, and so I need to work with what I have. And as you can see there, yeah, there's that hammer forming right there, and I really think that we, you know, even though the daily looks like it's bearish, but I don't see it's going to be a large move up to the upside, but you never know. So I did buy 2 calls for the end of the week. So I'll keep you posted on the profits on that tomorrow. Okay. But right now, what my goal is I'm playing with Bitcoin. It's playing with small accounts as far as like $200, $500. Excuse me, not $500, $50, and see how far I can really take it. Because like I told you before, I hate to put large capital into something and not get the returns. I want to be able to build an account, and so I want to make it possible for people to use, you know. I think Bitcoin has helped me out in the long term as far as getting my mind together psychologically, because there's a lot of ups and downs to that. I mean, look at that, man. Look at that large ass candle.
Yeah, man. Look at Bitcoin really coming back from at the beginning of April. We were looking at a cryptocurrency that was, you know, damn near knocking on 5,000, and sure enough, here we are, you know, almost $3,000. Well, 3,000 higher and knocking on the door to 10,000. Man, I in fact, I even tweeted out today, is Bitcoin back? Because, you know, we're knocking on 10,000. That's insane. You know, when again, this is a conversation a couple of days ago that you know, people were, oh, hey, Bitcoin 5,000, Bitcoin 2,500, and that was a real conversation people were having. And sure enough, this you know, new volume bringing back a lot of life also to the Bitcoin equity side as well.
I don't want people to be afraid of Bitcoin. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little intimidated. I've been pissed, man. I was pissed for a long time at Bitcoin. But this is going to be the future, and it's best to learn how to trade it now so that there's not going to be any problems in the. I mean, I think it's best to learn the market now while it's moving the way it is, because, you know, I mean, we all know it's a scam. We all know that it's pump and dumps, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I feel like it's a little bit more regulated than before, because you used to get these large ass whales to come in, and shit, a big green candle be fucking $300 before the price even changed. Like, where the hell did this come from? So, but you don't see that type of manipulation like I did, you know, probably about a month and a half ago, right? Where they were just liquidating people left and right, and what I think the purpose of the liquidation is to basically, I feel like Bitcoin is recycling money. It's just basically to scare people out of trades, It's because if it only kept going up, everybody be making money, right? So they have to manipulate it to keep. Basically, like the lottery. It's no different than playing the lottery to me. You know, you buy a lottery ticket and you hope for the best, and basically you're buying a lottery ticket, and I think the odds are a little bit better, but I still think that it's best to learn it now. I'm probably all over the place right now, man.
I get where you're going with it, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you're absolutely right in terms of, you know, Bitcoin had to get those weak hands out of there, and, you know, the committed and dedicated traders who were there from the beginning, who probably sold higher, they got to some lows, guys who said, hey, man, this is some real thing. I understand the technology. I understand the benefits of this technology. Let me get back into these lows. I have no doubt that they are probably one of the, you know, groups that are really driving Bitcoin out of these lower levels. Because when you look at the weekly, as I just had, man, this looks like a very healthy and responsible bounce. You know, when you look at the weekly chart in Bitcoin USD, this looks like this is exactly what it should be doing, right? We got to some highs, we pulled back. Now we've got some new money coming in, along with maybe some old holders who are adding some more at the lows, and we'll see what happens from here. That's all we can do.
Right. Well, I just want to make sure you're not afraid to trade it, man. Like I said, this, you know, it runs a lot faster than normal charts as far as stock charts, but there's if you go, and this is my secret, if you go in and size into this, you know, basically if you go in with $100, $150 max, and size into your position, and you're gonna have to play with some leverage, but if you size in correctly and you watch the chart, you can make $30 within 3 or 4 minutes with $150. So it's possible, and I can't tell you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I blew through maybe 10 accounts, you know, with $150 in it, just because I wanted to test the limit of the leverage as far as to see how it works, how it feels to get liquidated when you lose all your money. Yeah. What the whales to do when basically, because sometimes I can't even get out of a trade, and so. And
Mr. Lloyd, what broker are you using?
BitMEX.
BitMEX, okay.
And so what I decided to do is I'm trying to beat the whales in, because when the manipulation happens, those are usually people like us that said, oh, the chart's going, let me hop in. And as you said before, these websites are broken. And as soon as they get that overload, everybody's ass is locked up, lost all their money, and basically that's how Bitcoin is making. That's how they're recycling their money, because the websites are locked up. You can't get out of a trade, and all of a sudden you get liquidated because you're using leverage. So I feel like I got my little niche. I'm not rich, you know, playing Bitcoin, but I think for people that have very, very small accounts, I think one is very good to learn, because it gets your emotions running. You have to learn how to control your emotions. Now I can trade without emotions anymore. I mean, I can lose 150 and not be upset. Yeah. But I mean, hell. But I get a little upset, but not as bad as I used to. And like I said before, I'm learning not to see every candlestick as a threat. And so if you trust your analysis, you know, and look at the big picture and get off those damn small ass time frames. I don't go under an hour anymore. Right. Now I don't even go in an hour. So I think, you know, when I first started, I was looking at 15 minutes. Yeah, I could trade off the 15 1 hour, but you know, as I mature in trading, I see that the bigger people are looking at larger time frames, and you just got to have patience when you look at those larger time frames. And if you don't see the play, don't hop up in it. Go look at some other tickers that are at your you know, however you enter. And the biggest thing that I'm learning to right now is how to create an edge. I don't know if you heard about a trading edge.
Oh, I've heard about it. Yeah, absolutely. Trying to find, absolutely. Yeah, we talk about that.
Yeah, so basically, I'm trying to develop my edge for trading. I mean, we all have edges, and I just can't keep flipping through charts anymore. Well, this indicator doesn't work this week. Maybe this one does. We got to quit doing that. I mean, you have to stick with what you have and keep with it. And I mean, there's guys that listen to your chat, man. They're making thousands just using the same old shit. I just never understood that. That's just because, you know, it comes with time. And if you can last in this game 2 to 3 years while you wait for your time to come, you're good to go. And I feel like I'm almost there, man, you know, where profitability is coming in. But patience is basically the last thing that I feel that came to me as a trader as far as before I reached to graduation. You know, it's like I went to boot camp. You know, you Navy, man. I'm at that final, the crucible, whatever they call that thing at the end. You know what I'm talking about?
Last week of the last
battle stations.
Right. Yeah.
I'm in battle stations right now. You know, basically, and what I've learned, man, from, you know, reflecting back from when we first started, and I think when I first met you, you gave me the realization that money can be made. You know, that's something that's even my own employer never gave me is the realization that money can be made. You never taught me how to trade, but you just basically just made it. You made me have that possibility that I can do this on my own. And so it took years, man, but it's almost there. And so you guys don't give up, man. I mean, you know, you're going to blow through. If you ain't losing money, you ain't no damn trader, okay? You're going to lose money.
Right.
Just expect it. But patience is basically when you know you made it at the end, when you can see $500 go down the drain and basically go have a beer and not even think about it.
Right.
And it's not because you're rich. It's not because you're rich, but you know that the game that you're in is that you're going to lose money. But you know, but here's the funny thing, man. Why don't people get upset when they lose money out of $500 out of their retirement? You know what I'm saying? I mean, right. when it's in the market right now, why don't you get upset?
That's true, man.
It's the same thing. So, you know, don't be discouraged, man. And you know, I'm glad it's only like I'm not glad, but I feel like we're back in the day again. It's only 80 people in the room, 92 now. It's almost like we got that little close and personal touch again.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So how do you think your patient level is now?
Dude, I mean, you know, I know you've been busy, so you haven't gotten, you know, to watch the episodes, but you know, anybody who's been watching over the last couple of weeks can tell you, you know, even with me, things have changed. That I'm preferring the longer time frame. I mean, I don't know if you saw that optioned episode we put out where it's options only, where we've selected some option calls to watch over the next month and a half, and you know, I'm looking at those longer time frames because, you know, as I've done the show, I've realized that, you know, I don't want to just make 1,000, 2,000 anymore. Like, it's just, you know, that, you know, right. that's, you know, I hate using the word, but that's N-word money. You know what I mean? Like, there's real, like, okay, wow, okay, this is, you know, we held the stock for 6 months. Here's a $15,000 gain over the last 6 months on that hold. That's like where I'd like to get to, you know, and that's not exciting, right? That's not exciting. That's not as like, oh, look what we did today and blah, 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 because, you know, it's a longer time frame. So it's a little slower, a little bit more boring. But I think for me, that's where I have to get to really accomplish what I want out of my life and make some things happen that I want to make, because the 1,000 here, you know, a loss of 700 here, 2,000 here, a loss of 650 here, 1,000 here. And then, you know, I look, particularly when I went to pay my tax, and I'm looking at my commissions, bro, almost $7,000 in commissions. I will not do that again. I will not do that again. $7,000 in commissions for 2017. That's ridiculous, man. I want to change that. I'm going to change that a lot, and that's why I've really cut back. Besides, if anything maybe comes on Black Box, sure. I know how good that indicator is. I'm going to jump on that. But the whole thing of intraday shorting or anything, forget it. I'm looking for great quality companies. I'm looking for scams. I'm looking for overbought Chinese bullshit plays. You know, the traditional stuff that I know puts me in a high probability over the course of several periods of time to, you know, to win big. And I think that's just the way to do things.
Right. And I just want to say, you know, for you guys that may have fear, you know that sickening feeling that you get in your stomach when you make a trade and it goes against you right away. You know why you have that fear? Because you put too much in. Once you put $20 in and see how your fear level is not, you won't even have no fear. And so the best way to do it, man, is just, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna say the best way. I mean, people are gonna figure out I mean, you're gonna blow some accounts, so I can't really say how it is. But for me, you know, I'm not as reckless as I used to be, just because I was always under the impression the more money you put in, the more money you get back, and that's really, you know, not the truth.
Yeah.
You can make the same amount of money with just a little capital. And that's what I'm working with Bitcoin right now, to see how far can I go with $20 or $30, and I see for a minimum to make the most I've ever made off 150. It took probably about 2 weeks. It was probably about $1,800, and that's, you know, and I mean the volatility was okay then, but it's I think if you're going to trade Bitcoin, I'd say 150. But, you know, anything over, you're really overdoing it. If you can't build off account off $150, then, because if you have anything over 150, that's when the greed sets in. That's when you're going to start, you know, going all in, because you got that euphoria kicking in. So, no one give me the pre-show here, man.
Hey,
I got some top fives, man. And I appreciate you too, Sal. Listen, my discrimination case is next week, and I'm definitely gonna be tuning back in. I just have to get over this little hump, and definitely we'll be getting together, bro.
Hey, good luck with that, man. As you said, it's been almost 4 or 5 years in the making.
5 years.
So of course, I wish you best of luck on that, man.
Yeah, and I'm here in the chat room, man. So if you need anything, I'm gonna eat my greasy chicken since you're on your vegan diet over there.
Yeah. Yes, indeed,
all right, brother. Have a good one, man. Hey, whoa. Oh, wait, hey, listen, I do want to talk about Amazon since you got the chart up.
Yeah.
So, you know, Amazon gave out those numbers about how many people they have on Prime.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, did you see that that they released numbers? How many Prime members they have?
I don't remember the exact numbers, but I do remember it being in the bigger than what people thought it was, and it was in the millions, bro. And
now,
go ahead.
Now let's talk about from a logic standpoint. Now, why would they release that information prior to earnings?
I have a feeling they blew it out the water. I think today, you know, they're going to put out another stupid, amazing number that, you know, is going to really impress the market. In my opinion, that's what I think. We'll see once it's all out there, you know.
Well, I want to give my prediction now, and this is only my prediction. And my rationale behind this is that basically, to lure people in to get trapped up in there so they can hold it back because it's going to fall. And so they release this information. They release this information because now if once it falls that hard, people are going to be stuck in there. So, I mean, they're putting this information out so it doesn't fall as hard. Or let's say, so wait a minute, they release the information so the price can go up. And so, because the earnings is bad, maybe it might run back down to the normal price. You know what I'm saying? Like, so basically, increase the price so it doesn't. They don't lose too much, because if they gave it out on earnings, it may not have no impact. Right. So they'll release it now to bump up the price, hoping that earnings, you know, doesn't kill them. So I think they're going to fail on earnings, and basically, that was just a marketing scheme to get people to buy in, so they can get trapped up in there. So that's I mean, do you feel like that? Have you ever seen that before where they do stuff like that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen companies, you know, reassess what you know, future earnings is going to look like, or hey, tamper down, say, hey, look, we probably not going to do so good this next coming earnings cycle. But guess what? Hey, you know, we have 2 million accounts or some bullshit. Yeah, we've seen that here on the show. You know, could that happen with Amazon? I mean, I don't see why they would miss next coming earnings cycle. I don't know. I don't, you know, see any new malls opening up, right? I mean, I don't see how they would have lost, but you never know. We've been surprised before, and they could deliver under, you know, market expectations.
Well, I want to say one thing about this as well. If you look at that chart right there, I feel like the chart is already telling what the earnings is going to be. That looks like a Head and Shoulders to me. I can't foresee that thing skyrocketing up all the way up like that. I mean, it looks like a Head and Shoulders. I really think the writing's on the wall what it's going to go down to. I mean, earnings is. I mean, you know, people say, "Oh, it went down because of the news." I feel like the chart is already setting up to fall.
Well, that would make sense if you look, especially at the the weekly and the monthly, right? I mean, if you look at Amazon on the monthly, it looks like Bitcoin before the fall. I mean, if you look at Amazon monthly, you're already talking about a stock that's greatly overextended compared to many of the other, stocks on the market. So Amazon to fall back now would be completely justified if you're looking at the longer time frame. You stay away from this trade if you're a long-term trader. This is a very dangerous entry point for you. So it would make sense for it to fall and cool down for a little bit if that were to happen right now.
Because I don't think there's anything they can say and to make that chart look like a dryas chart right now, because it already looks like a dryas chart. So what more could happen? I mean, we don't know. Well, let's see. But that's just my prediction on it. So we got 3 more days for it to come out. You think it's gonna? What's your prediction on it?
I think they beat. But I agree with you that you'll have some traders who sell on the news because this is an opportunity for you to cash out on that momentum. So. I think it's a beat, but it sells on the news, very much like what we're seeing happen in Netflix right now. Netflix is another one, very similar chart to Amazon, had great earnings a couple of days ago, but as you can see, you have traders who sold on the news, right? The high was $340. Yeah. We've lost $30 since earnings.
Go back to the daily
in Netflix. So that's just how it is sometimes, and I think
right. So take a look at that. So you see the Netflix chart. Look, I would never expect for it to go past that higher high over that previous high over there. You see that where it gapped up at?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like the charts are already give the map for earnings. I mean, I never really did a lot of research on it, but because I don't play earnings like I used to, but I still feel like if you want to know what earnings is, I mean, especially on these bigger plays, the chart already describes it. I mean, but as somebody said in the group, in the chat group, the stock is going to do what it wants to do, regardless of what news they come out with.
Right.
So that guy is absolutely right. But anyways, man, I ain't gonna turn this to the Oprah show. So
hey, Mr. Lloyd, thank you,
have a good one, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
You,
a lot of interesting insight always brought up by my callers. Again, shout out to Mr. Lloyd for the call. Look, when you look at those higher time frames, and you're one of those guys. He's talking about being patient and staying in the trade. You're not going into Amazon right now. You're not putting your money into Netflix right now. You're talking about stocks that are oversold, and short-term traders need to be aware of that. You need to look at where these stocks are at on a monthly or even on the weekly, and you see, hey, god damn, man, these things are way up there, and we're talking 80 plus RSI on monthly charts. So they've done well for a very long time, and there's a lot of based on technical analysis alone, justification for some of these to come down a little bit, or even a lot, depending on where your head is at on these. All right. So Amazon, Netflix, still loving the puts here, and absolutely on Amazon, whatever that earnings number is, or even maybe the day before the earnings number, you look to possibly see, again, it's not the cheapest stock in the world, and that's why you play the verticals on plays like this, but you try and see if you can look for those 1430s, 1440s, even going back maybe probably even 1460s, looking for an opportunity to see whether or not you can get into that and see whether or not that stock comes back to you and putting that particular put in the money, right? Putting that put in the money. Looking back on Netflix, that would have been a great opportunity for you to do. It's one thing. I'm also, do I have any Tesla haters in here? Now Tesla fighting and not being able to make it past, again, back above that 200 moving average. I'm thinking Tesla is going to come back and retest 240s. So I don't know if I have any Tesla haters in here or guys who follow Tesla. I know a lot of people believe that the guy's a crock of shit, and although he's got great ideas and great plans for the world, his Tesla idea is a dump. So who knows what's going to happen with that? All right. So great opportunities here to trade on the option side. All right. Take advantage of that. MDR to 9. Yeah, very, very great trade on MDR today. Nice pop today on MDR. I saw that. Yeah, I saw somebody bringing up Snap. I don't know what to say on Snap, but just because, things are still in development. But when you talk about Snap, one thing I'm hearing from people is that now that all the clowns are gone, right, Snap is even better now than it was before. That's what I'm hearing about people who use Snap. The kids are still on there, but if you remember Rihanna, she came out a couple weeks ago on some, in my opinion, rig type bullshit. Like, oh, we don't even use Snap no more. Like some, she tweeted that out. All right, a lot of people have moved off Snap, but here's the thing. The people who still on there like it more now than ever. They like it now more than ever. So, nice gain today for Snap, but again, it's all short term. Here we're seeing Snap cross back above the 50 RSI. Those of you guys who have those videos that I put out on my Google Drive, that's your in. That's your in right here on the daily chart where you cross that 50 RSI, as well as the MACD crossing over, moving average, crossing over on the MACD. So this is great opportunity for you. Maybe put some time on that option, a $15.50 call or a $15 in the money call right now, or a deep in the money call to take advantage of that high delta. It's going to cost you a little bit more, but it'd be worth it in case it comes back against you. But, this is probably be an in for you. This is probably an in for you here. As you can see here, Snap hasn't been successfully, above the 50 in some time. So hopefully it can maintain those. And, with Coke tomorrow, we got Coca-Cola earnings tomorrow. We have, let me pull that list. I know Coke is tomorrow. That's a big part of the S&P. Caterpillar, we got Caterpillar tomorrow. Lockheed Martin. We got Verizon tomorrow morning. We got 3M tomorrow morning. So, yeah, look, we got some, very big parts of, the indexes, showing earnings tomorrow. And if these numbers are good, you're going to see a really great day for the longs tomorrow. You're going to see a really great day for the longs tomorrow if the numbers are good. And you're going to want to be a part of that. All right? Yes, indeed. He said Snap is hot garbage, 4-hour, 200 SMA. The 4-hour, that's a weird time frame. The 4-hour chart, yeah, you can use that as well. Hey, whatever works. But when we look at the weekly, you're starting to see that strength come back in as well. Let's see the monthly in Snap. Still very fresh for the most part, so the monthly is not going to show you too much there. But again, looking at the daily, we're seeing just a return to at least some kind of bullish nature as it crosses back above that 50 RSI. All right. Said Elon Musk doing just fine there. He needs to come out with that truck, man. And, look, he's still 2 years away, but boy, I think that's going to be the saving grace if they can manage to get there. That's the only problem. If they can manage to get there, this Model 3, man, they are really struggling to pump things out on this Model 3, and it's killing them, man. It's really killing them. And Tesla is a big-time welfare baby, and I don't know how aggressive they can continue to be if their share price continues to drop, right? You got to understand, companies borrow off the cost of their options, cost of their shares as well. So how does liquidity look like for Tesla, which is losing money, right? How do they continue to make moves if the stock dips, to considerably lower levels? How does that change things in terms of their financing? All right, it's going to be interesting to see. And I don't see why, particularly going out of the money and taking a little bit of risk, which is particularly low, right? Being that it's going to be an out of the money trade, and seeing what happens. All right. Speaking of out of the money trades, everybody knows that companies like Baba, it's almost a habit every year. They buy the lows on Baba because everybody thinks Baba is a scam. All right. Many people believe that Alibaba is a scam. Many of the kind of anti-China bias type traders. If you saw the movie The China Effect, great movie, by the way, guys who love the short side of the trade. That's a great movie to watch. Alibaba is hinted at it a little bit towards the end of the show, but many people think Alibaba is a scam. They're companies who wouldn't advise that their investors buy Alibaba. All right. Ricardo, yeah, I think he loves SpaceX more than Tesla, honestly. Not to beat up too much on that company, but I think he loves SpaceX more than Tesla. That's just me, though. 612, you're on the air. What's going on?
What's up, Sal?
Hey, what's up, Christopher? What's up, man?
Shit. Did I win? Did I win the competition? Congrats.
Look, your $10 call in HMNY is developing. It's developing. You had a nice day today.
I need you to. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was wondering, could you look? I'm understanding. Could you pull up the HMNY 1 minute chart and tell me, is that a Hmny candlestick, and does that give me a good sign?
Well, I'm not going to pull up the 1 minute because at 1 minute it's.
I'm sorry. 1 day. I'm sorry.
All right, yeah, because on 1 minute it wouldn't matter if on a 1 minute candle.
Yeah. I'm kind of lagging, so I'm just hearing what you're saying. I got a real bad lag up here. I went to the jungle today, and how are you and the cartel doing?
Hey, everybody's doing great, man. I appreciate you calling up, and I'm looking for a bullish Hmny.
I thought I saw a green candle, then I saw a small red body candle on the 1 day chart. The 1 day chart. I could be I
wouldn't call it a bullish Hmny just because the candlesticks aren't big enough. Because you're still showing a lot of inconsistency between the buyers and sellers. We're still fighting it out. It was a great day across the board. The bulls were in control today, but it's still a fight going on, right? And today's green body was still, just slightly within Friday's, bearish action. So we're looking for the breakout higher where you have one candlestick that swallows up the last days or previous days, action, and we haven't gotten that just yet. But we may get that as soon as tomorrow. We'll see.
Okay. Well, Don, on that same thing, what about I be trying to excuse me now, but I try to use that RSI and the RSI the RSI and the MACD are those for other indicators or confirmation that it might just break up through like crazy, like go to the moon just out of nowhere. It's what does it say to you? It looks like that MACD was like over.
Right now, again, we still got that sideways action, right? I mean, we're still, you had that offering at the end of last week, right? So it gapped down, and now you've got buyers who are making commitments at the lower levels. But yes, we haven't broke up to cover the window yet, right? That window starts at 270. And right now we're still significantly below that, closing today at 246. So we've got some again, it's a cheap stock. It's got a lot of potential being with that whole Verizon thing that got put out there, that Verizon was the second largest shareholder, second only to the CEO and owner of the company. So that's a lot of catalyst for an upside move. But that's going to develop over time, and in the short term, we just be guessing to say, hey, is it going to move higher? We still need some days to develop and see what happens.
Okay, Don. On another note, I'm here because this is a developing country. Here, meaning the DR, it's a developing country. Where I am, we just got a Burger King last year in our first supermarket. And Burger King just got bought up by Domino's Pizza restaurant brand. So I'm all into and we got Frito. Everybody wants to eat Frito-Lay here. We don't have a lot of McDonald's, but I'm just saying that's where I am as far as being here. And I always forget to tell you some other things when I call. Good God, man. Oh, and I also wanted to tell you, like, I don't know if it applies to you and want to do anybody doing Forex, but we use euros here, dollars, whatever the Netherlands money is.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of different, but no cryptocurrency. Ever since last year, I was looking for it. You remember when you said your people were sending money to your family and they said send crypto?
Yeah.
Well, nobody here knew what that was, so I was waiting on that, but nobody knew what that was here. Just to give you some kind of insight of what's going on here. So, but that's it.
There it is, Christopher, man. Thank you so much for the call, brother. I appreciate you, bro.
All right, I'm out of here like last year. Peace.
Yes, indeed, man. Shout out to Christopher Jewell. Again, those of you guys who don't know, that's the brother who's down there in the Dominican Republic. Said, fuck you to the United States of America, took his money, and went down to the Dominican Republic, and he started his life over as a citizen of the Dominican Republic, man. He's living out there, that's good to him, man. That's good. That's good. I think that's brave of him. I can have a whole show, and Chris, I want to have a segment with you that we can record and I can post up on my channel. Just your mindset and what to go into that decision and that. I think that should be something really interesting. And he's trading and of course making his money, doing what he does in trading and whatnot, and putting that where you get an incredible upside because you're a U.S. citizen and you're playing with dollars. You're playing with dollars. All right. Yeah, and he was talking about how they use different currencies, and that's particularly of a lot of poor countries. You always see a mix of currencies being used just because locally there's a lot of fraud in terms of the guys who own the money shops, and you're not getting a really great price, but street prices are always really good for foreign currencies. And it's so important that poor countries in particular always have a large amount of other currencies that cycle through, because their currency, the Dominican Republic peso, ain't shit. And it's really hard to get, again, a fair price. It's really hard to get a fair price when you're bringing in dollars and they want to rip you off on the Dominican side. All right. Yes, indeed. All right, so give me your tickers, folks. Give me your tickers. You know what the number is. Let's take a look at what you guys are trading. You already know what we're trading over here. You already know what we're trading over here. All right. Anybody seen that movie, by the way, to the China Hustle, I think it was called? Great movie, man. You might want to take a look at that. If you're not already shorting, that will definitely be a great primer into why to short some of these bullshit companies. And again, 2009 is a little bit before I started getting serious into the stock market. I knew what the stock market was in 2009, but who would have known that, looking back while we were struggling here with the housing crisis or whatnot, guys were making millions, billions of dollars playing these pumps that were going on Chinese stocks. Treasure Hunter 772, what's up, man?
What's up, Sal? What's happening?
Hey.
I only got a question on one play. I called in on it last week. I already doubled my money on it. You probably jumped in it too. I almost feel like Lloyd. Now that I'm up, I wonder, should I sell? Should I keep it riding? My question is to you, is it going to, what do you think it's going to do? And what will you do? Will you sell or keep it riding? The BTSC.
BTSC, man. That's an interesting one, man. We just got done talking to Mr. Lloyd, and we talked about how the rise in Bitcoin is really moving the equity side of Bitcoins as well, of Bitcoin related businesses. And no, I say you hold on this one, man. I mean, if you're in at the lows,
I know, right?
Yeah, if you're in at the whole lows, Bitcoin's still running. Depending on your size, you may want to take off a little bit. I mean, if you're in pretty big, But BTSC just crossing back again over the 200 moving average, which it hasn't been since February. But as you can see here, back above the 200. On the short term, you're going to pull back a little bit. Again, that's why, if you want to take something off the top here, this is probably the best time to do it. But once that RSI cools down a little bit, you're going to be wanting to get right back in, especially, again, as long as Bitcoin continues to perform the way it has been doing.
Yeah. Then that was it right there. I just, my OTC, or not, the Robinhood play, I just got a little bounce on IBIO. Yeah, I just hopped to him like a little position in him also, not too big. I just had to do it. I seen that little dip,
There it is, man.
Couldn't help it. All right, man. That's it, man. Sal, your show's off the chain, and I keep up the good work, bro.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much, Treasure Hunter. Appreciate you. He also talked about IBIO as well, as that fights off the lows there. Stock that cheap, you kind of want to, look at a even greater time frame, just because you want to make sure you're getting it at very low. And he really is. If he's in IBIO and these very low RSI levels, and your hope is that you just get a nice nickel bounce on that. That would be an account changing type move if you get a nickel bounce on a 16-cent stock, which is possible. I mean, it's very possible. We've had DCTH a couple months ago where that was a 11, 12-cent stock that moved as high as 23, 24 cents. So it's happened before, and he could be trying to hopefully trying to get a move like that as well. All right, but again, you're playing with fire when you're talking about stocks this cheap that have a very strong delist risk. All right. You had somebody bring up EBIO in the chat room. You let me know, where this is going. EBIO is not necessarily one of the ones I followed, right? This is a very small company. It's done incredible over the last several days, as you can see, right? It's a $60 million market cap company, so very, very small, but incredible return now, over 100% return on your investment since 4/2. Since 4/2, EBIO, NASDAQ trading like an OTC at these levels. So that's a monster kill for that one.
Monster kill.
Nice play, EBIO. Again, crossing the 200 moving average, right? Bringing in quite a bit of volume with it, and here you are moving aggressively higher. All right, biotech play. So let me know what the story is there on EBIO and why we should move higher. You know what the number is, 305-600-2896. All right, so you let me know what the storyline is here on that stock. Can't follow them all. Crude is interesting. We talked about how Donald Trump came hard at the Arab boys about how they're manipulating the price of crude. He exposed the fact that there are ships literally all around the world sitting with barrels upon barrels of crude off ports that they're refusing to deliver. And they basically have these ships, sitting there not delivering crude as you continue to see crude prices move higher and higher and higher and higher. Here we have USO, dude. USO. This is something we couldn't, again, not too long ago, you couldn't find USO above 10 or 11 here. USO 1392. And again, when we just got off the phone talking to Mr. Lloyd about going long, man, this is exactly what we're talking about, right? Imagine being the guy who's holding the 10, the 9s, the 1050 calls in something like this, and he hasn't held for that long, right? You look at some of these 1050 calls that were being sold back in October, right? October, November or so, so we're talking, 4, 5, 6 months ago, and, at the $10.50, $11 call, you buy $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 of that, you're up, well over 400% on your money at those levels. Especially if we're talking about a 1% move, is about a 10% move on an option, right? A 1% on the underlying is about a 10% or so move on the underlying on the option side. So you're up big money. You're up big money if you're in USO at some of those lows, right? That's why, you know, buy and hold makes so much sense. And, you know, here we have USO, as you can see here, monthly, right? Monthly, you still, you know, when you look at the monthly, you're saying that this could be, you're still early, right? As you can see here on the monthly, we're just back above the 50 RSI. MACD is crossed. So if you're trading, you know, long term, this looks like this party's just getting started. This looks like this party is just getting started when we look at crude prices on USO. All right? On USO. Yeah, definitely watch that. I know it's on. I don't know if you guys use Pirate Bay or not, but fuck it. I'm not paying for no damn movie. And so China Hustle is on Pirate Bay or some other torrent site you may use. All right? Absolutely. Andrew, now call me. Hey, tell me what number you're calling from, because I got a couple clowns trying to call in, but I'm not taking their calls. So I might be getting you confused with someone else. So let me know. I know the numbers by now, who's calling from where. All right? But again, USO looks like it's just getting started. And now Christopher talk again about, you know, the Dominican Republic and how different countries, particularly outside of America, Forex is huge, right? Forex is huge outside of America. If you talk about trading outside of America, especially outside of these, maybe Japan and maybe other countries where they have an established and very liquid stock market, they're trading Forex. I mean, Forex is their markets. And you're seeing some really interesting things develop on the Forex side today, where we had the 10-year hit almost 3%, right? Those of you guys who understand how, you know, the federal government finances their operations through, you know, selling bonds, right? You have T-bills, you have T-notes, and you have T-bills, T-notes, and treasury bonds. T-bills, T-notes, treasury bonds, and they all have different lengths of time that, you know, they're for. I think T-bills are daily, right? So I know one of you guys in here are better at that than I am, but you had a really great move today on the 10-year, and it had a really nice effect for the dollar in some of those Forex plays today. Great move on that. All right? Yes, indeed. All right, 980. I think this is Andrew. What's up, man?
What's up, man? What's up, Sal? Yeah, I was trying to get in and out, man. But yeah, can you check out ticker ABIO? Apple Bryce Invest.
Okay, let's talk ABIO. And all right, I love the way this RSI is peaking up here. Tell me a little bit about it, man. Why does it have your attention here?
Well, you know, I'm using Blackbox, the new resource, and it came up on the alert system, and you know, it's pretty low RSI, and the 52-week low was 45 cents. So I figured it was going to at least go up 20 cents or 10 cents, you know, and then it just ended up consolidating.
Okay.
But it's definitely at a low RSI. It's at 44 on the daily, and it's at 38 on the I use a 3-minute chart. But I just don't understand why the alert happened. And you know, it's a volume alert, and you know, I got in with 2 green candles on a 3-minute chart, and I thought for sure it would rise up from there. But maybe it's because the pre-market boost that happened.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, you're gonna get an alert on something, and that's why every time, even on Blackbox, when I get an alert, it's not an immediate something where I immediately jump on it. I'm looking for at least, you know, 4 5-minute candlesticks worth of breakout action. That's when I really believe it. If I get 4 candlesticks, 5 minutes each of breakout action to the high side, and what I look for is particularly maybe like the first 2 candlesticks, you have the nice move, you had a retest of maybe a low, and then the last 2, you have a breakout above that previous set high. And again, I can show you something like that. If, for example, we saw in GSUM today where you got the alert. Let me show you there. Here's the 5-minute. You got the alert, and again, I know I posted that on there, but you got the alert around here. I got in at 4:13, but it only came out thing at 4:15. But again, to zoom in on these candlesticks, you'll continue to see even on 5-minute charts the stock continuing to go higher, right? So you got bullish action, and it's being confirmed minute after minute after minute on the chart, and that's the only way I'm going to jump in on a decent alert that comes through on Black Box, because you're gonna get, the system can be fooled, right? You can be fooled by a couple 250,000 share buys in a row or unusual volume alert, something like that. But at the end of the day, the price action is what's going to, justify whether or not you should try it and go in for the trade or not. And that price action has to be confirmed over a period of time. And I think that's the only way to really avoid getting faked out by the system.
Gotcha. So 4 green candles is what you do.
That's what I look for. That's what I do. That's what I do. Again, you can once you get into the chat room, and I know you're already in there during the day, but they have their own videos where they have a strategy or whatnot. But for me, I like 4 consistent candlesticks on a 5-minute chart to show to justify that, because if I don't get that, then I know, all right, this really ain't moving up like that.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate that, man. That's gonna help me in the future.
Thank you, Andrew, bro.
Keep up with the hard work, and I'm listening in.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, y'all.
Yes, indeed, man. It's Andrew Gladness. Shout out to Andrew. Appreciate the call, bro. All right. And that was the move on GSUM today on that. I don't even know why it sold off. I didn't even see it, but all I saw was a very, very low oversold. RSI was like 7, bro. RSI was like fucking 7. So it just made sense to jump in at that level. It just, you knew it's going to jump up from that. So that was a nice move. But no one expected that continuation of buying out of there. That was insane. Don't trade futures. Don't trade futures. Got to learn a little bit more about it. I mean, I look at the futures numbers in the morning to determine where we could possibly open at. But futures themselves, I don't trade. No, I do not trade futures. All right. I don't know if anybody else in here does, but yes, indeed. All right. Let's look at some of you guys' trades. KEP, Korea Electric Power Corp. Korea Electric Power Corp. You're going to have to let me know what's going on with this one. Looks like this is probably Korea's energy company, or could be one of them. You let me know on this one where we're going with KEP. Again, some of the long-term holders that we're watching here, HMNY has got to be, at least now, even now after that offering, got to be on your radar at these levels here. 38 on the RSI, probably even better opportunity for you on Friday after we hit some of those, what are those low 220s. Now up 20 cents a share to 246. I'm going to continue to watch this. Again, look at the weekly. I think that's where you get maybe the even biggest upside potential, where, 36 on the RSI on the weekly. Where could something like this be over 3 to 4 weeks? All right, where could something be like this be 3 to 4 weeks from now, 8 weeks from now, 12 weeks from now? Can we be talking about a stock that's back to where it was just last week? Are we talking about a stock that could be right back, to another $2 a share higher? And what could that mean for you and your trading account, to have 1,000 or 2,000 shares in something like HMNY and be up $2 a share on that ticker, 2 months from now, right? That's the right way to play this. That's really the right way to play that. And I'm kind of changing out of that. You know, and we've all known that's how the way to trade, but you know, the discipline to get there to do that, that's something that's taken, you know, almost 2 years for me to learn. Admittedly, almost 2 years for me to learn. All right, somebody brought up IG. IG. All right, this is very also a nice one coming out of some lower levels. I'm only concerned the fact that this has been underneath $1 now for some time, so I don't know where they are in terms of you know, the recommendations from NASDAQ that what they've got to do to get their stock prices up $1. You know, I do see a recent public offering, so I don't know where they are in the process with that, but they should get some kind of notification from NASDAQ in regards to their share price soon, because this has been under $1 for some time. Although making its way higher, can they get there in time? That 200 moving average is at $1 right now. And again, do some you know, fundamentals here and find out what the story is. You know, we're talking about a stock that, you know, has a market cap, I'm seeing here, less than $10 million. Right? It costs more than $10 million just to get listed. So we're talking about a stock that's $10 million. I mean, they are local businesses that worth more than $10 million, and this is a publicly traded company. So obviously, either this is a very, very small business, or this is a company that's trading significantly below its book value, which probably is the case, being that it's only trading for 58 cents a share. So there could be upside here. Do your research. Do your research. What's going on, Gregory Hall? GBTC. Yeah, GBTC. You know, Bitcoin's doing well, so GBTC is back. Bitcoin's doing well, so GBTC is back. You remember GBTC was, yeah, when Bitcoin was struggling, knocking on the door to single digits. Knocking on the door to single digits. So all the Bitcoin stocks are looking good right now. All the Bitcoin stocks are looking good right now. Norman Powell, you said you're in on HM. I'm in on HMNY, and I'm going to hold for you know, again, a long period of time on HMNY. That Verizon deal for me was enough. When I saw Verizon being the second largest shareholder on a company that they can buy outright any day now, they can come out and say, okay, we'll just give you a premium for $2 a share at its going rate. You know, give it to us. I love that. I love that right now. So I'm going to ride that. GBTC right now at 15.25, and it could continue to move higher as long as Bitcoin does to do so. That's a gimme right there. GBTC. So again, you're going to have to watch how they both move. But as long as Bitcoin continues to do well, GBTC does well. As long as you know, disappointing day on Riot Blockchain, but Riot Blockchain could be another one where, you know, I don't know if the float's increased. The volume surely hasn't. We'd love to see a little bit more volume in Riot Blockchain, but I don't know if it's still the low float mover that it was at these levels. I'm sure you probably, if you do look into the news on Riot Blockchain, you may have had an increase to the float at some of those lower levels. That could be affecting the way it moves, but I would still look at Riot Blockchain, you know, even as a hold at this level, right? Again, Bitcoin has to continue to move higher, but I would still jump on Riot Blockchain, because if you remember, about a week and a half ago, when we saw the running of marijuana stocks, we pulled up several different marijuana tickers that hadn't been a part of the increase yet, right? They eventually started moving, right? You remember the MCOAs of the world and stuff? They eventually started moving, but for a while they were out of the loop. They were out of the loop on the marijuana on the marijuana move. So, you know, you're going to see that happen. And Riot Blockchain, if we look at Riot Blockchain, could be very similar move again. It had, you know, Bitcoin's been moving. Riot Blockchain, where are you at? Riot Blockchain on the move right now. This is probably an opportunity for you to get in and see what happens over a week or two. All right. Now this is look. This is a NASDAQ stock. You put a nice little, you know, stop loss on it, and you see what happens from here. All right. Nice little 10% stop loss, and then see what happens. Yes, indeed. He said 420 going to be rich. Well, we can get into the conspiracy theories, but I've told you guys that 420 stuff is dangerous stuff. You see what's been happening across the world, across America, with these killings. People showing up, killing you, just getting yourself something to eat after the club at Waffle House, and that again is another killing dedicated to Hitler and all that. So Hitler's birthday is 420. So you got to understand that that's a date that's a very evil celebration for certain people in America to take the lives of people, particularly people of color. So sad what's going on. So hopefully we get past that. All right. So 420 has a different connotation for me because I know a lot about that. Do I have stocks or options in HMNY? Stocks, all stocks. I don't like the way the options trade in HMNY. It's not liquid enough for me. I don't like the way they trade on the option side. They're available, but I don't like the liquidity. I just not feeling it at all. Yeah, that's some real sick stuff when we talk about the month of April, and particularly to hardcore Nazi types. You said all the charts are moving sideways. Yeah, because we're look, we've had 7 to 8 years, 10 years now of an incredible bullish market, man. And right now, how can we continue to move this synthetic market higher? We're looking for the catalyst. Here's the monthly in QQQ. Look at this, man. Since 2008, look at this. It's been a great 10 years to be a trader. It's been a great 10 years to be a trader. And look, some chickens have to come home to roost, man. And we're struggling to move higher. That's just the facts of the matter. I don't care what anybody says. The way this market struggles to move higher is it definitely makes you raise your eyebrows, because you should really be looking at putting at least some puts out there that got a lot of time on it, as protection. That's why it's so important that when I trade options, and we had that option show, I made sure I bought some protection on my options. Guys were like, well, that's a spread that makes the trade a little bit more expensive. Yeah, that's true. But you always got to have protection. You always got to have something to, I don't like trading my options naked, where guys just buy straight calls and then there's just a call and that's it. Or they'll buy a put and no call. Like that's trading naked for the most part. I'd rather not do that. Especially if you're going over a period of time. 919. Bats, you're back on. What's up, man?
Hey Sal, how's it going? I forgot 2 calls that I've always got too much to talk about. Mm-hmm. But last week I called IG, so this is EYEG. Mm-hmm. Had that typical bullish belt hold. If you got into that last week on that bullish belt hold, you would have been up 50 or 60% right now. Because when I called it, you see that very first green candle? Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And look at where it is right now. Do the math on that. So I called that last week after that day. So I think there are a few people who managed to get in after my call, and they made out, or they're making good money so far on that one. So, the bullish belt hold, don't discount that. It's always a good candlestick to look out for. And then I forgot to mention, so with the company IONS, I did tweet about it, but it has a subsidiary company that is based in Cambridge. So IONS is Carlsbad based in California, but it's got a subsidiary company called AKCA. And I tweeted last week that Ionis bought 200 million shares, or sorry, $200 million worth of its own subsidiary company last week, which was AKCA. I think I tweeted about that on the 19th. Look at it right now. It essentially went up $4 from about, I think it was near about $24 or $27, and it's gone up already $4. Yeah, I forgot to mention. So IG and AKCA, which is a subsidiary company of IONS, they just pumped $200 million worth of shares of their own subsidiary company. So you can see it's moved since that time, and that's all I wanted to bring your attention to. Always look for companies and their subsidiary companies, because you can perform sympathy plays off of that. And of course, like IONS was big in the news yesterday, but 2 days prior to that, like I said, they put $200 million into their own subsidiary company. And then last but not least, a pair that I like to look at is XON. So this is Intrexon. I've spoken about it on the show before, but XON, whenever you look at XON, look at the other company, which is ZIOP. So XON and ZIOP, they own each other's intellectual capital, so those two as well should be traded as a pair. And with that, that's all I have for you. I just didn't want to forget it.
There it is. Appreciate you. Thank you, Bats.
Thank you, Sal.
All right. ZIOP, small cap stock. Again, do your fundamentals on this. Obviously, Bats has done his. He's done his. XON, $18 stock, owns the $4 stock we just talked about. ZINP. All right. And Bats, if you can put those tickers in the chat room. Put those tickers in the chat room so guys can do their research on that. Put those tickers in the chat room so guys can do their research on that. All right. I would appreciate you. All right. Put those tickers in the chat room. I appreciate you on that. All right. It's a nice move. Wow, I got an interesting 2-for-1 on some Amazon put verticals. Interesting move there. LBCC got delisted. AFTC moon play. Yeah, we had a few interesting little OTC stocks, do some insane things. Yeah, I mean, we brought up AFTC last week. It's undergoing some kind of pump, man. I don't want to be a bag holder on that. It's been a nice run for. Shout out to all shout out to the promoter involved. Shout out to all the insiders involved who are liquidating shares for thousands upon thousands of dollars. But I feel sorry for the bag holders on the other side of the trade. I mean, you just got to be a sucker if you're holding some of these. 0038s up there. I mean, because you're never going to see that again once this is over. All right, but there's some moves being made here. ELRA. That was another bullshit. Pump and dump. Looks like that's could be getting started here, up 200% today alone. All right, so a lot of unusual trading action in the OTC side. Today, saw 100 GNCP. That's another one, up 100% today on almost 150 trades today. All right, so look, a few of those, OTC stocks doing a little, movement. Doing a little bit of movement. I was a bit impressed with that on the OTC side. Some ones that I'm kind of actually familiar with. GMBL. This was an interesting stock, and GMBL I think I showed a video on GMBL. 158% gain. 158% gain today in GMBL. On that move today. Only, I mean, less than 500,000 shares traded. But I got to give it to him, man. 158% gain from, look, from those 14-cent lows. It's very impressive. It's got a very nice, tight float, right? Only 460,000 shares traded, and you move up 150%. That's a tight float. That's a tight float. And, stocks like this are definitely on my radar once that Supreme Court hands down what's going to happen with sports betting. But, we still have yet to see. We, thought it was supposed to happen. I saw another article said it was supposed to happen last week, Thursday. It didn't happen. So, I don't know. But I'm going to keep watching it. It should come any day now. Yeah, RNVA still doing its thing. I don't want to beat up talk about RNVA too much because I don't want anybody to beat up the stock. But RNVA doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Nice, slow, steady. Pulled back a little bit today because we got a little bit ahead of ourselves to end the week. But for the most part, RNVA going in the right direction. Going in the right direction. PAOG. PAOG. All right. Don't know anything about PAOG. You're going to have to let me know what. You said it's a sleeper MJ play, Corey? We'll keep watching. Those sleeper MJ plays do come out of nowhere. They do come out of nowhere, Those sleeper MJ plays. You really never know where they're going to explode higher. Heavy manipulation. Yeah, oh, of course. I mean, we already know that, bro. I mean, you're talking to the choir when you're talking about manipulation on the OTC. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir when you say that. So we already know that. But, to be able to put $250 and come out with $1,500, that's what gets you excited about trading OTCs. But, look, at the end of the day, if you are terrified about losing 20-30% of the day, this is definitely not where you want to be trading, at all. That OTC is it's the ghetto of the stock market, man. I've said that several times. The ghetto. Welcome to the ghetto. That's the OTCs. It's the hood, man. OTC is the hood. I don't care what anybody says. You can't make. There's nothing glamorous about OTC pink sheet trading. It's the hood, man. It's for unsophisticated. It's for manipulators. It's guys who love, manipulation, lying, cheating, stealing, fraud. Blatant fraud, dude. Blatant fraud. You got companies that just straight up being hijacked. I've seen companies just hijacked, bro. Like, filing where they'll take an old company and just file a piece of paper and a guy just takes it over, dude. Just you can actually Google that, corporate hijacking. I mean, they do it all the time. Where you'll find, there are thousands of these shell companies that are on OTC markets that aren't doing anything. And I could say this now. There's a company that I know, a guy who's a promoter who's going to take over. It was called Homeland Security Corporate. There it is. HSCC. He's going to take this company over. Not even, nobody knows where the old CEO is. Nobody knows where the old CEO is. Nobody knows where any of the shareholders, like, nobody knows. Obviously, there's still some shareholders. Nobody knows where this company's at. And he was going to file something. I don't know if the company's in Las Vegas or Florida, but there's a document. I'm not going to put the name out there, this document, but you can file this document. And this document basically says that I'm the official person for this company, and that any paperwork or questions and answers that you have regarding this company has to go through me. He basically would have taken over the company. All right, and to an OTC stock, to get an OTC company traded, it costs you about anywhere between 450 to 750,000 to trade OTC. There are cheaper ways beyond that. One is corporate hijacking, of course, or to maybe find an owner who's just like, fuck it, I don't care about this company anymore, and then reverse into it. All right. Yeah. Absolutely. Trading options, sophisticated version of OTC trading. Trading options is the sophisticated version of OTC trading. Okay. I see where you're going with that. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Corporate hijacking is real, man. It's a big, big problem. That's why sometimes you'll see these small little companies that'll just pop out of nowhere. Was it PNAT? I can't remember. I don't think it was PNAT. But there've been quite a few of those. They'll get hijacked. They'll change the name, create a nice little website. You'll get a 2 or 3 week pump, and then they're gone. They're gone. And walk away with, cost them maybe $100,000 worth of work, and they walk away with 25 million, and it's a wrap. Obviously, the SEC eventually, you would think eventually catches up with them, but a lot of time they don't. Especially if they're doing it from another country, right? I mean, if you walk away with 40 million in a fraud, SEC freezes your stock, but you're in China, you're in Indonesia, there's nothing they can do. The money's gone. All right. Going to be really interesting tomorrow. I think we'll get a better, clearer picture of the market moving forward. We'll get a better, clearer picture, at least for the week, of the market moving forward. And we got some big companies announcing tomorrow. We got announcing this week, period. Again, Coca-Cola, some other companies too as well. Lockheed Martin, Caterpillar. Wednesday, I think, is even more. Yeah, Wednesday's even more exciting because Wednesday we got Boeing, and then we got Twitter, we got STM, we got Comcast, we got quite a few. Yeah, some companies that many of you guys are going to be much more familiar with, and interesting. We'll see. So we got a big earnings week. Viacom, big earnings week this week. Really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. 301, call me back. It only rang like one time, so call me back on that. Credit Suisse Group, that Switzerland banking giant. Credit Suisse is, so we got a financial. That's going to be nice to see. Detroit Edison, energy play on Wednesday. So very interesting stock. But Twitter's going to be interesting. Is Twitter going to be actually in the black? That's going to be huge to find out. 301, you're on the air. What's up?
What's Gucci, Sal?
Hey, what's up, man?
Anyway, what's up? All right, so I just would like to address one thing. I've recently came to this realization myself, so I'm not going to try and sit on a high horse or anything, but in my opinion now, there is no real manipulation on the OTC.
What?
There's only shitty entries and savagery by market makers. There's no manipulation. People just don't know how to read charts, and they get a shitty entry, and then it goes against them because that's how it works when you get a shitty entry. And these companies, yes, there's some shady shit going down, but I wouldn't go so far as to call it manipulation when they dilute on you and you didn't do the due diligence to find out that they're diluting or whatever. So I don't know about saying that the OTC is all manipulation. No, I think it's just a lot of shitty companies doing savage shit and a lot of dumb investors getting shitty entries because they're shitty investors. So I think people can just do better and not focus on their shitty past in trading or whatever, and just, I don't know. I think it's just all a matter of perspective when you get into trading and investing. And I think if you're just saying, oh, I got a bad trade or whatever, it has to be manipulation. It's not my fault. It's not because of my entry. It's not because I didn't look at this indicator and compare it to this indicator and get a Thinkorswim chart or make a custom script on Thinkorswim or something. So I don't know. I think it's just all a matter of perspective. I wanted to touch on that a bit because y'all were talking about it.
There it is, man. I appreciate you, Gucci. Got any trades for us for the week?
You know, just because we were talking about AFTC earlier, I just wanted to keep talking about that one, honestly. I mean, it might pull back a little bit just because the MACD RSI is a little overextended, but that could be going to the moon. I mean,
hey, give me a number on that. I mean, give me a number on that. What's your thinking? What could the high of this run be?
When I say moon on AFTC,
and I mean, I know we're just guessing, but I'm just curious where your head is at. What potential this could be at?
I can see this hitting 3 cents in the next 3 months. I'll say that. That's a pretty. That's like my option trade. I'm predicting that will happen in the next 3 months.
Okay.
And that's based on the fact that this company went completely dark for years. This original CEO died at like age 70 in 2010, and his wife just sat on the assets for a while, then sold everything, and she wouldn't even talk to anyone about the company. The company supposedly makes a standardized valve of some sort that the military can use across all of their vehicles for one standard fuel port that's good on all types of fuel or whatever that fits their requirements. And that was what they were mainly focusing on when the company was up back pre-2010. And just recently, a new CEO named Harry Zhang bought the company, already has a good track record, and that's the reason for this insane chart. The float's getting locked, and yeah, it's just a good situation right now on AFTC. I mean, people are buying. That's why the chart's the way it is.
There it is, man. Appreciate you, Juicy. Thank you, man.
All right, man. Good night.
Yes, indeed. So he's put it out there, guys. AFTC. He's saying that from 0031, 3 cents a share in about 90 days. Oh, look, I've seen that happen. We've seen that happen. Many of you guys who've been trading long enough have seen that happen. If you've been trading stocks, OTC in particular, you've seen that happen before. That's not out of the question. So when he said 3 cents a share, which is I want to say 900% from where we are now, 900% from where we are now, that's not out of the question. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no, because you say no and then it happens, right? You know what I mean? That's how this thing works, and you just never know with these things, man. We're talking about OTC companies. When they get going, boy, they get going, and I'm telling you right now, there's nothing stopping them when they're on a good run. And I mean, you can pull up some charts. The last one being FUSZ, for example. This is a 1,000+ gainer right here. This is a 1,000+ gainer right here. You could have said, oh, that's bullshit at the beginning of that run, right? Where did that start at? 6 cents, I think. Started at 6 cents. Now we're at 243, and again, that's not even the high. All right, so that's a 3,900% gain. That's a 3,900% gain from January 26. Right? 3,900% on your money since January 26, brother. That's not even 4 months. Okay? That's not even 4 months. And you're getting 4,000% on your money. 4,000% on your money. All right? So I'm not going to say what he said was ridiculous. Mr. Lloyd's calling? I didn't see anything. Mr. Lloyd, you calling me? Call me back, bro. Call me back, Mr. Lloyd, if you're calling me. Okay, I did see a missed call from you. Call me back, Mr. Lloyd. I'm here. I'll take you as the last call of the night. All right, Mr. Lloyd, you're back on. What's up?
Man, I have to say something about that last call. I mean, after all you took me to the hood, man. And for somebody to sit there and tell them and make a comment that it's about reading a damn fucking chart. If you see a fucking Marzubu green candle, you don't expect for the shit to have a complete reversal down 200% from the green candle. I mean, that's just that manipulation. That's just. I mean, yeah, there are some OTC plays. I mean, if you're talking about the QBs, is it the QBs?
Yeah,
the
QBs. You know, that have been even the QB. There's manipulation on the QBs. I didn't agree with him when he said there's no manipulation because I've seen it. I'm low key. I'm not going to say it, but you know, I've seen it. And so I won't agree with him on that. But you know, yeah, we get what you're saying.
Yeah, well, and whoever called in, give me a ticker that you're looking at, and because if it's one of those sideways charts, you know, the ones we used to look at a long time ago, you asked the question, how in the hell are the candlesticks moving up and down like that, like side by side? Mm-hmm. If he's talking about those type of charts, that is strictly manipulation. You know what I'm saying? So, the whole entire stock market is manipulation. We're playing against machines, regardless at the end of the day. It's not like I wake up in the morning, hey, Sal, you want to play stocks? You know, it's not like we're playing with each other. We're playing with the machine. So that's that funky looking chart. Yeah. So yeah, tell me how the fuck do you trade that? What, you get in a one green candle, you get on the next red. I mean, how do you read that? So we all know there's manipulation involved, and I can tell you I can read charts, but the thing of it is it's not just solely on reading charts, man. It's your emotions have to be in line because. You know, you can blow an account real quick, but I'm not going to hold the comments long, man. I just had to comment on that because that just didn't make no freaking sense on how there's no manipulation. I mean, I just don't see it, man. But all right, man, I'm done.
There it is. Appreciate you, Mr. All
right, thanks, man.
Well, when we talk about manipulation, it's not just on the stock side. When we talk about manipulation, it's about hiring promoters and stuff like this. Because, for example, you can have a short attack, you know, from a guy like Tim Sykes or some other short attack guy out there. And what a company can do is that they can reach out to, let's say, a guy like me, maybe a year or two ago, and say, hey, look, man, I'll pay you $5,000 to send out 2 emails to your list of 20,000 people, convincing them to buy this stock, put everything in it and run it, right? And you may have a nice looking candlestick that was a confirmation of the bearish nature, and you know the stock is going down. But if I can convince, you know, let's say my list, about 25,000 people. If I can convince, you know, a tenth of them, you know, if I can convince 1,000 people. If I can convince 1,000 people to put down $1,000 to buy that ticker, you're fucked. You're fucked. So whatever you saw in that candlestick the day before, you know, it doesn't matter. So that's why when we talk about, you know, the manipulation that can happen on the OTC side, that's what we're talking about. You can blow whatever the chart's saying out of the water because you can do that. Because the volume is very much controlled a part of the time. You know, and for many of these stocks, you're only going to get volume, you know, under some kind of promotion. You know, otherwise, nobody's going to buy these fucking stocks. Nobody's going to buy these fucking tickers. Now, of course, you know, you may have tickers. After a while, they have they have a following like an MJNA. Or a hemp or something like that. You know, they've been around for a long period of time. But if you want to talk about these spin outs that are, you know, 6 weeks, 2 weeks old, 3 weeks, nobody gives a fuck about these companies. They've got to go to somebody who's got a network of traders who listen to them or who take their advice or something and say, hey, man, tell your people to, you know, hey, this is the new shit right here. This is that new shit right here. And then that's how they get moving. Yeah. All right. So we about to close out the show in a bit. Great episode today, folks. I know it's been a couple days since I've been on. I haven't been on since, Wednesday of last week. Got real slow during the end of the week. But nice to see at least some action again today. But really looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully we get a really good day tomorrow for the longs. But we look overextended. Still today, we still look overextended. And we could very much have a weak green day tomorrow, especially if these numbers aren't, if we're still looking at tax assisted numbers. TOPS continuing to sell off. What's going on at Tops? I'm seeing somebody bringing up Tops, and I'm thinking after hours it was up huge or something, but I'm not seeing the move. Tops, big time loser. Boy, let's go back to November Tops. That was before the. I think that was before the split. All right. Appreciate that, R. Devanian. Yes, indeed, man. We just chatting in here, and again, we're following the money. That's all we're doing here on this show, talking about trades, following the money. You guys already know what this show is about. We're not doing this for popularity. We're doing it to, create, a future of stability for ourselves, and $1 at a time, man, $1 at a time. And I think we're finally doing it the right way. In my opinion, I feel like I'm doing it the right way, or embracing it doing the right way. All right. Real estate, location, location, location. Investing, patience, patience, patience. All right. So that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing here. I got a great list of shorts that I'm going to put out tomorrow on the show. Most of them just kind of bullshit shorts that I'm going to be writing some articles on my website, Advanced Equity Research. It's about that time. I put out a really great short. Still, it was able to get a few shares to short of my last one. Now that it's creeped up a little bit. GOPH. GOPH is one that I called out as a bullshit. It's a bullshit stock. The company has nothing. They don't have anything. All right. The company has nothing. They have nothing at all. But again, this is OTC, right? We're talking about, a ticker here that was like a 9-cent stock or whatever. Yeah, 22 cents. Right? What was that low? I don't even know what the 52-week low on this was. I'm just kind of looking at the chart. I want to say the 52-week low is probably around here at 17 cents. Now it's at $3.16. They could revisit some highs here soon, but you had some shares open up to borrow. I'm still not big enough to really make sense, but hopefully some more shares open up here as guys, either thinking they're going to load up here on these lows, or maybe some shares free up here. But the GOPH, that was my alert back on April 16th. I'll put out again a new list tomorrow that I'm writing some articles on. Call this one at $2.99 or at $3.16 now. Kind of might have an R-car situation where I called it a little bit early on R-car. I know I called it a little bit early on R-car. Moved against you, but now you're up almost about 50% from where I called R-car. So interesting stock there. We'll see what happens on that. All right. I know I don't have too many shorters in here, even though that's a high probability way to trade. Finding crappy companies that are overbought and over a period of time will not, stand the test of time and maintain those higher levels. Will not do that. All right. So let me go ahead and ring the bell. Of course, if this is your first time here, please press subscribe. Please press subscribe. I appreciate you having you here. I know you can't all watch it live, as most of the people who watch my show, it's always afterwards, at night or during the day. Appreciate you. Yes, indeed. Don't hesitate to call in. There's still a lot of people I haven't heard from that are in my chat room all day. during the show, but I've never heard your voices. You know who you are. I always love to hear first-time callers, long-time listeners. Love having you in the show. All right? Thank you to all my callers today. You know who you are, who called, gave us some good game, great advice. As always, I appreciate every single one of them. All right? Always tidbits you can take from the show. K-Mac, thank you. K-Mac, you know, you were talking about Jern. I'm not shorting Jern. All right? I saw you accuse me of shorting Jern. That's why I don't want to bring it up. That's not the case at all. You know, sometimes you just can't bring up every single ticker. But again, that's why we got the call-in line. If I'm not talking about your ticker, call up. You notice they get the preference. Because the calls make the, you know, keep the show going. Andrew Gladness, appreciate you, bro. George M. Shirley Lewis. Bill Betts, thank you, sir. Bill Betts. I appreciate you, Bill Betts. Shaquille Emmanuel. Corey Kwan. Corey, you said you're shy. You're definitely not sure in the chat room. You're not shy in the chat room, Corey. Hit your boy up, man. Y'all done watch me every day. You know who the hell you talking to. I mean, it's just me and you. You know what I'm saying? Joel Kraft, appreciate you, Joel. Sleepy, Daryl Graham, Candace Ann Thomas, all the ladies, man. Shout out to the ladies. My ladies, listen, I'm up to like 21% now. 79 guys, 21, I think, percent female. Started off at like 5%. It was like 95.5. So obviously something's clicking with the females. Women, rather. Excuse me, women. I've been corrected on that before by my girlfriend. With that being said, I'm out of here, folks. Again, great day tomorrow. I'm hoping, looking for a great day tomorrow. Amazon is setting up for a fall, according to Mr. Lloyd, and I tend to agree with him. So look to be putting some options with some verticals. Make it cheap for yourself. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Happy trading, folks. Until next time, see you tomorrow.